that these grassroots organizations like the Ceasefire Outreach and No Shots Fired, you know, these types of situations and what we're doing, they actually work. But people don't tally up the data. So then whenever we go into one of these organizations asking for some funding because these kids need resources, they need certain things to keep them out of the gangs, off the streets, and to keep them busy, then we get a lot of pullback from that. You know, because these stakeholders, they really, you know, they put it out there and feed you a dime or two here or there. You know what I'm saying? Just to get us to shut up. But then they won't invest in the whole project and what we need to do over a period of time. So I'm gonna hold some of those people accountable in reference to this particular panel right here, because we've been pushing the line and we've been working hard and we done made a lot of progress and we're going to continue to do so, whether they help us or not. You know, so for me, I have always pledged to never hurt another black man, another Hispanic man, another human being. And to this day, it's been 26, 27 years since my last physical incident. And when I say physical incident, I'm talking about playing with the pistols. You know, so, you know, and that's my pledge to this day. You know. And another thing I want to tell the young brothers out there and anybody else out there that's gangbang, they don't make you no punk to walk away from a fight. The first time I did it, it hurt my heart for about 3 or 4 days because I wanted to smash the dude's jaw. But then when I did it the second time, it became easier. When I did it the third time, it became easier. When I did it the fourth time, it became even easier. So now, you know, we got to teach these kids that violence is not the way, because it solves nothing. And another thing I want to say to the 619 is that everybody from West Coast, from neighborhood, from 59, from Skyline and Lincoln Park, whatever city you represent, we all got family. We all got family in common. And that's one thing that's very unique about San Diego. Because there's somebody in his family that's my cousin, I'm sure. There's somebody in his family that might be related. There's somebody in his family that might be related. And there's somebody in his family that might be related to somebody in my family. And that's a fact, whether we know it or not. You know, so the agenda for the Ceasefire Outreach right now is just trying to keep these young men from killing and harming each other. And we're going to push a line on that. And we're also going to push a line on some of you G's out there that's pushing a line on these youngsters. We pushing a line on y'all too. If you got a problem with what I'm saying, you come talk to me directly.
Did anybody else want to respond to that? Okay, so we will move along. Those were great responses from both of you guys. We definitely appreciate it. The next thing we would like to get into is, if we had peace, how much more prosperity could we have? And I'll ask one of you two gentlemen to start answering with that.
How's everybody doing? My name is Michael White. They call me Brassett. I'm from neighborhood Crips. I think if you got peace, you know, peace benefits everybody. You know what I'm saying? The children, the women, the men, of course, because, you know, financially, we don't lose nobody. You know what I'm saying? But the brunt of a lot of the gang violence goes on our women. And people don't like to think about that, but our mothers and our sisters and our, you know, kids' mothers and stuff, we dying and going to jail. So it would ease a lot of burden with them, and maybe our sisters can start coming together and getting their stuff together, you know what I'm saying? Because it's all one big circle. This gang violence and it took a toll where, you know, I just came home from doing 10 years. I've been home for almost 5 now, but I lost my mom after like a year and 4 months after I came home. And I just think about all the time that I've missed from me being in a penitentiary. Like I lightweight killed my mom. That's how I feel, you know what I'm saying? It hurts, you know what I'm saying? We just don't think about all the turmoil that not only it brings to me for shooting this young man and killing him in the streets, but it brings turmoil to so many other people. So if we had peace, you know, it would just be so much, people would be healthier, you know what I'm saying? You know, I love Mimi, I don't know if you guys know Cuban Mimi, but she got the Fat Camp organization, and she gets the sisters together, the sisters and the young girls, and I love that because with all the, everybody focuses on the men and the gang members when it comes to this stop the violence stuff, but a lot of it goes to the women too, so. And you should just see all the kids together just playing with each other, and that's another big part of it, because if our kids grow up knowing each other, they're less likely to kill each other in the future. You know what I'm saying? So I think peace, it's just so much, you know what I'm saying? So much prosperity that comes from peace, you know what I'm saying? But we just got to start acting on it and bring it to the table.
That's it right there.
Bring it to the table, act on it.
You know what, they need to, you guys need to get with, when he was just talking about the little sister Q and me. You guys need to go.
We actually have something we're setting up through Monica Kelly, and we'll be doing the women in about 2 weeks. And she already needs to keep meetings as part of that.
I think peace will bring a lot of resolve to everybody's mental, where they can go to different places in the city and feel comfortable. I mean, you know, just mainly it's from these designer drugs that's messing with these kids' head, and they out here doing crazy stuff. Because when they calm down and they in jail somewhere, they like, wow, they're scared, you know what I mean? But the drugs keep that adrenaline going, so that's a part of it. And social media.
Tell us who you are.
Oh, my name is Terry Patrick, Rental Hill Blood, uptown, and the drugs and social media. That's the main part. You know, you get on social media, you feel tough on social media, and it spills out to the streets. To where now these kids are out here. Oh, I'm live, I'm over here, and that turned into a problem right there, right on the spot. And I've seen it live, and a lot of people's on TV and live. So it's just social media, these drugs keep these kids pumped up. But I know it can work because it's worked. 619 day, the Cuban Mini Day, everybody coming together, having a good time. So I know it can work, maybe a little funny, might get it a little better. But then these kids is glorifying, oh, we got more murders than Texas, or we got more murders than this place. And that's not it. You know, let's glorify not having no murder. Oh, we have no murders this year. You know, let's glorify that.
Thank you.
Make that, you know. Because it's all senseless bull. So, you know, let's keep it right and glorify what's good, you know, and feel safe in your own community. And we can go all the different places, you know, outside of your own section, things can happen.
I just want to piggyback off what he said. It used to trip me out, just like he said. I used to go to certain prisons, and I'd be getting the layout of the prison and the yard, and you know, it's a cool prison, nothing really jumping off. Call it a boring prison. So the little youngsters, man, it's boring here, man. Well, I said, would you want to go somewhere where it's cracking? Like, you come off a lockdown for a day and a half, and they go right back on lockdown for another 9 months. Or, you know what I'm saying? And people be like, oh, my city got this many murders. I'll be like, you're proud of that? Like, you know, that's something to glorify, you know what I'm saying? But I just want to piggyback on that.
For sure.
Very good responses. Did either one of you guys want to respond to that additionally?
As far as the prosperity,
Can you tell us who you are and everything?
okay. Yeah, Alvin Hayes. A lot of fellas from in the streets, they know me by Cole Al. I believe that there's a lot of people out there that's representing gangs that I truly believe that a lot of them really don't want to be in that situation, but due to peer pressure, and stuff like that. You know, some of them may believe that there's no other way. As far as this prosperity, I like to see a lot of us grow together, you know what I mean, in a true sense of the word, you know, and no matter where an individual is from, you know, we're all people, you know, and I believe that by us leaving the violence alone, and when I mean by us, I mean everybody that's in the gang lifestyle. You know, just leave the violence alone and start looking at other things to occupy the time. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of things there's more things out there on the negative note that really pulls people in a lot faster than anything that's on a positive note. Because in the gang life, you know, there's so much negativity in the mind that there's no doors opening for them to let anything else in. You know, and it's unfortunate. You know, and I was one of them cats, you know, that was living like that. You know, I had prominent people talking to me or trying to talk to me. You know, Bishop over there, he tried to get at me countless times, you know, and I'm like, I got a joint in one hand and a drink in another hand. I'm like, Bishop, come on, man, look at me. You know, man, you know, but he respected that because he knew where my head was at, you know, so he didn't press or anything like that, but I believe in his heart, he knew that one day Al would come around. You know what I mean? And, you know, and it happened. You know, it's better late than never. You know, spending 31 years in prison, in the last 15 years, I had to work on this and work on this in order for me to find myself sitting in this seat. You know what I mean? So, you know, I've done a lot of work on myself, and a lot of people, a lot of youngsters out there, they need to know that there is room for progress. You know what I mean? They need to know that there's room for progress and that there's better things on the horizon. You know, they need to know that because what they're into right now, that's not the business. You know what I mean? And I have to reflect back when I was young and totally engulfed in the madness where people tried to talk to me, you know, and it just went in one ear and out the other, you know, and I just know that we, as far as this panel here, and those that feel the same as we feel, that's not here right now, I believe that that we can really bring something together, you know, because we want them to put the guns down. You know what I mean? Okay, but what do we have for them to pick up? You know what I mean? So we have to really do a lot of brainstorming. You know what I mean, and figure it out. You know, I know a lot of youngsters in the game, and I know a lot of youngsters in the football, basketball, and all that there. Maybe we can touch them through sports. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of other things a lot of kids is into, you know, but, you know, it's just unfortunate that they're being roadblocked. They're being roadblocked, and it's on us, you know, to knock them barriers down and hopefully help them through so that they can find something better in life.
And another thing that, one scenario that I always like to push with kids when I talk to them is that these are the outside forces that we're fighting as well. We're fighting racism. We're fighting institutional racism. You know, we're fighting, and one of my biggest things about the community right now is absentee fathers. You know, fathers not being in the home. Why? Because they were gangbangers, they were dope slingers, they went to jail. Some of them are in prison for the rest of their lives. Some of them is in the graves for eternity. You know, so I like to push that particular scenario. And me, I go to everybody's neighborhood. My brother worries about, Mike, you over there with them? Yes, I'm over there with them. I'm going. You know, I pull up in the coast, I pull up in the hood, I pull up in Emerald Hills, I'm pulling up. Wherever the brothers are gonna have me, that's where I'm pulling up at. And the neighborhood where I'm from, I don't even pull up there much more. And the reason being is because they're not ready. Some of them are not ready yet. And when I come into the neighborhood pushing this peace, you know, with some of the young brothers in my neighborhood, big homie, we not ready for that. Big homie, we just lost the homie. You know, that's another thing that continues to drive the violence when we're pushing the line to stop it, and we'll go without a shooting for 6 or 7 months. And then something happened out there in the streets that thwarts what we're trying to do. So it's very extreme. It's hard work, but for some of us it becomes emotional. You know, because I don't want to see none of the little brothers from none of the neighborhoods lying on the streets dead. Have any of you guys who don't know anything about that, have you ever seen somebody on the street dead with their heads blown off? You have?
From what, like, from covering?
From covering?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, but we're talking about a friend, somebody that you grew up with.
He was just chilling with him, and next thing you know.
Yeah, next thing you know, and you know, the first one happened to me when I was 14. And my homeboy TC, Terryclements, got killed right in front of me. And that didn't scare me out the game. What it did, it made me even more dangerous. So there are psychological effects from this as well. You know, me, I was able to get out the gang lifestyle because I did have a talent. I was a baseball player, football player. I graduated from Lincoln High School. I had a couple of coaches that was interested in my situation. I was able to go to college. I graduated with a degree in business administration from Liberty University, and I have a master's degree from that same university. I belong to one of the biggest fraternities in the world right now. So I've been able to do a lot of different things that some people haven't been able to do. I've been educated, I've been taught. So everything that I've learned from some of these outside resources, I try to bring back into the neighborhood. You know, so like Alvin was saying, it needs to be, it's not that it needs to be, we're gonna get there. It needs to be a situation to where everybody on this panel and everybody out there in the streets need to be, they can go wherever they want to go. If I want to pull up at a gas station because I'm running low on gas and it's on 47th and Market, I should be able to do that without worrying about getting my head blown off. You know, and that goes for all of us.
Yeah, no worries.
One of the things I want to do while he's doing that. Oh, this one ain't working. Right batteries. I'm not the guy that handles all that. One of the things that I did want to do, I want to read a ceasefire resolution. And this, I can post it where we can make it a working document. For anyone that wants to tag on and be an undersigned, we wanted the undersigns on this for what we're trying to do. And we can change the language, folks don't like it, but I think that, as my brother said, we got to move to action, right? And I know that when Bob come back, you'll continue with the discussion, but this was one thing that was very important to me, because if we have something in writing and we know what direction we're going in, then we can go in that direction. And then we can start working with our young people. But this is a ceasefire resolution, and it reads like this. And I have copies for you, and we'll post it, make it digital. If folks are interested, we can start working on that, to change the language, do whatever we need to do. This is just a template, something to start with. But it reads thusly. Whereas gang violence in San Diego has spiraled out of control, leading to assaults, attempted murder, and murder, whereas families from every community have been impacted by gang violence. whereas more of our children are being recruited into gangs, whereas our communities lack a sufficient number of role models and mentors, whereas Black American men represent 14% of the population of young men in the U.S., they represent over 40% of the prison population. Whereas 4.5 million Black American men ages 15 to 29 represents 14% of the U.S. male population of the age and 12% of the Black Americans in the U.S. Their high rates of death, incarceration, and unemployment, and relatively low levels of college graduation rates raise concerns for Black American families and the nation's economy. The contribution of social factors to the health problems of the young Black American men deserves further attention than thus far received. Whereas the experience of young Black American men differ in many ways from those of young men of other racial and ethnic groups, and yet are similar in other respects. Whereas it has been said that what happens in Black America in one generation happens in all America in the next generation. Be it resolved that we, the undersigned, will reach out to the Black community to decrease the violence and homicides caused by gang wars. Be it further resolved that we, the undersigned, encourage gang members from all territories in San Diego to suspend aggressive actions and negotiate a ceasefire. Be it further resolved that we, the undersigned, will offer wraparound support services to gang members who agree to a ceasefire. Be it further resolved that wraparound support services will include an assessment of needs, training and development in decision-making, leadership, stress management, peacemaking, cognitive behavioral therapy, mentoring, and literacy. Be it further resolved, the undersigned will offer a safe haven for those who need to escape the dangerous lifestyle of gangbanging. And that's the resolution. I'll give everyone a copy here. We can make it a digital working document, and we can work on it, and those that are interested, and we can most definitely come up with something that we all can agree with and work with and make a difference in our community. But I think that we have to begin with something, and this is what I present to you all. Bobby, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get started, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to try to, we're gonna introduce June when we get started. But we're gonna have to limit our answers to about 2 minutes apiece so we can get through a few more questions. Okay, we have brought on another panel member. It is Big June from Eastside Pyru Skyline, former gang member. He also does music and has an organization called Footprints that aims to stop the violence. He has a clothing brand, music brand, and all that stuff. Pretty big name in San Diego. We're glad that he can make it. And just as we're glad to have all these other gentlemen here, because we want San Diego to know that we are giving a serious push to stop this gang violence. Wherever you're from, that's where you're from. The shooting, the dumb stuff has to stop. We've got to slow down so that we have room and time for prosperity. So our families have room and time to breathe. We have to slow down so that we're not spending money on funerals, so that we're not sitting at traffic intersections every other weekend trying to sell t-shirts or plates or bottles of water to pay for a funeral because we haven't even got to get insurance this young. So San Diego, please, let's slow down, listen to these gentlemen. They are here for your benefit. I'm here for your benefit. Bishop Bowser is here for your benefit. We're trying to make San Diego a place where we can unite and prosper. Before we say anything else, I'm going to give Big June a chance to introduce himself since he got here a little late and you guys didn't get to meet him yet.
How you guys doing tonight? I'm Big June, Southeast San Diego, owner of Footprints clothing here. Got the red and the blue rag on the front of the shirt. Excuse me. It's basically something to make grown men stand up out here. It's over 2,000 murders a year. You know what I mean? Gang violence, and we have throughout the whole nation. Yeah, nationwide, 2,000 murders you know, every year. So we're out here to silence the violence and gather up as many people that we can get on board to help, you know, with the ceasefire or whatever has it. Like it's on us now. You know what I mean? God's been carrying us this long, and we still here to talk to y'all. So it's on us now to stop the foolishness, you know, stop the dumb stuff, and you know, make businesses, you know, make money, and you know, clean up these streets. We're all up here for messing up these streets. You know what I mean? And I'm front line with the cleanup. So yeah, that's why I am.
Okay, so with that said, we will continue. We'd like to ask a few more questions of these gentlemen up here. People in San Diego, if there are things that you want to ask of us or put to us, please post that on Facebook if you're watching live. Get in touch with Ceasefire Outreach. My name is Robert Wood. Bishop Bowser is the person who runs Ceasefire Outreach. You can get in touch with him. But please, let's talk about this. Let's get this problem dealt with. And so now I do have a question for the gentlemen on the panel. One of the things that we seem to see a lot of violence stemming from, not just in San Diego, but nationwide, it stems from the music. Yesterday I read about a guy named, I don't really remember the guy's name, I'm going to be honest, it was something Roland.
J. Young.
Huh?
J. Young, I think, yeah.
J. Young, and then somebody else. But two rappers who posted stuff, they weren't from San Diego, but they posted stuff. One of them got killed while his post was up, while his post was going up within minutes. Another one got killed from something he posted. So this is getting ridiculous. To combat that, my friend Terry right here, and another friend of mine, have suggested that we get some of these people to do music together. And I think that that is a wonderful idea. We have a vast amount of talent in San Diego County from all over the place. We've seen some compilations where people have put some beats over something and did something together. What would really, really excite me is to see some San Diego artists come together and do a concert for peace, and see some of these business people in San Diego stand up, put up some dollars, do some sponsorships, and promote that concert for peace, so that we can be working hand in hand with the community, with the business community in San Diego, with the rest of the community in San Diego, with gang members and former gang members, to get peace through beats. And so, speaking of peace through beats, I will let the person who planted that idea in my head talk to you about it.
Yeah. I used to be in the music business, so I know a little angles here and there. I happen to be connect, so I figure if we do something like that, it'll bring a little resolve to what we're trying to do. I suggested we create a 619 label and create people from all different sides to come together, make music on their own in the beginning, and then make one big song, like the songs that the guys in LA used to do. So if we can do something like that, like they said, give them something to do. Put these guns down and give them something to feel like they're doing something. So if you create that, they'll feel like they're doing something out here. So they can stop all the bull, like they said. So that's my thing.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea if you take all the OG South San Diego rappers, the Big Jones, the Mitchie Slicks, J.O. Felony, Black Mikey, you know, and do it, so that would be amazing. As far as with the music comes, as far as its violence, these young rappers need to understand that once you put yourself out there as this gangster tough guy, one day you're gonna have to stand up on it, and that's where they're going wrong. They're making songs and putting them on the internet, and while they're singing the songs, there are people that are in their videos, they're dissing other neighborhoods. And then one day, they see some people from that neighborhood and they get held accountable. If they take that part out of the music, just stop dissing, stop acting tough and all that stuff, and just make music, I think we go a long way. Because that's where all the violence is coming from. You say something about me, then my homie see you, he asks, you know what I mean, and it get funky. So take that part out of it, would be great. But all the G rappers, the ones I mentioned in the beginning, they not on that. Every last one of them that I named is pushing the same thing that I'm pushing. Peace, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but I think that would be epic if all the G rappers from Dago did that. Hint, Big June.
And speaking of hint, Big June, I know these gentlemen probably both want to respond, but since Big June is a member of the music community in San Diego and one of the people pushing peace, I would like to ask him to speak on that really quickly.
Yeah. As far as the music goes, the gangbang, these people it started. I want to say that it started in Chicago, with the drill music, and the main cause of it is these guys are getting a lot of money. They're getting a lot of views on the internet.
That's right.
So these record labels are really to blame because they snatched out the music that is, telling people to stop the violence and, the KRS-Ones, all these people that were teaching in music, they muted them. And now they're giving money to all these kids that are in music and they're saying whatever it is to get or these things out of people, and they're giving them money. Like I've been in this music since 1992, and I've never seen like $5,000–$10,000 out of music. But now I'm still going, and I'm still trying to I did that music. I'm a part of some of the stuff in San Diego, and that's why I'm right here in the forefront.
Thank you.
To clean it up, you know what I mean? And right now they're giving a lot of money to these little kids, and it's not the little kids' fault, but that's what's selling right now, and that's what are getting thousands and millions of views right now, and which is feeding their families, you know what I mean? So, but I don't like when I was rapping, we were at FanMart, we were at Walmart, we were everywhere. You cannot see none of these guys that are dissing people in these streets. You don't see them outside unless it's the videos. They're not outside. You'll never be able to catch them. You'll never be able to pull them to the side and talk to them like, hey man, this, like how we respected RGs and stuff like that. You can't tell these little guys nothing. If you step on their shoes, they're liable to kill you for that. In this day and age, it's all just a persona just trying to make a name for herself, and dissing somebody makes their views go up and stuff like that. So that's what it is. And like my man said, if we can get people to stop throwing signs up and stop doing all dissing hoods, make some music. I make music for stuff that I'm going through. Not having a job, not able to make rent or you know what I mean, but getting through these times. And right now we're all we got. If we know it or not, we're all we got. You know what I mean? It's a lot of killings in the black communities and through the rap music, but we're all we got. You know what I mean? If we all kill each other, then we're done. You know what I mean? So we got to stop the violence. I'm trying to silence the violence. I got my daughter. She has shirts. Can we come outside and play without you guys shooting? And that's just a way to strategize us grown-ups. We're out here with some people out here with no jobs. We're out there drinking and smoking in the streets. So all the kids see what we do, and when they grow up, this is all they know. So we got to take our business inside some houses or inside some restaurants and chill if we want to do that, and leave these kids outside to play. We were able to, you know what I mean?
And another thing we got to take into consideration is that these record companies, not only are they pushing the negative coming from our own people, but what they're doing is, once these rappers blow up, they're getting life insurance policies on these rappers.
Yes.
Because they know sooner or later somebody's going to get flipped.
Immediately.
You know what I mean? So, another thing, somebody said, I think it was Terry or Alvin, I'm gonna reiterate that these kids are on these mind-altering drugs. So they don't think rationally. When I was growing up, I didn't comply, or if I was going to stand up and be resistant to what he was telling me, then I was going to catch a fade. See, That's the difference between these kids now and us back in the day. See, these kids, we didn't have access to guns back in the early 70s and early 80s the way that they do nowadays. So the only, you know, we might have a 22 rifle, a 38 maybe, or something, and then it'd be 50 or 60 of us. So, and then out of the 50 or 60 of us, 10 of us is fighting for who gonna hold the pistol. You know, so out of 50 or 60 of us, 10 of us was punks. You see what I'm saying? Out of 50 or 60 of us, only 4 or 5 of us is gonna sling them things. See, they not doing that no more. I don't even push that narrative no more. These kids don't fight no more, and if they do, they fight with their heads down and scratching like this. You understand what I'm saying? So it's become more dangerous because these kids have access to these high-powered weapons. So we got to start holding these gun manufacturers and these politicians, we got to start holding them accountable as well. If you guys notice, everything everything I allude to goes back to the establishment. Because if it wasn't for them shipping that dope in the 80s and shipping them guns into our communities in the first place, a lot of this stuff probably wouldn't be happening. When black people were smoking crack and the government called it a criminal issue. It was criminalized. So what did they do? They formed a task force to come into our neighborhoods and kidnap the fathers, to leave the mothers alone to raise the kids by themselves, when they were the ones putting crack into our neighborhoods. They criminalized the black man for being an addict. But when opioids start affecting the Caucasian community, what did Congress and what did the Senate and what did those at the top do? They call it a health issue. Now they want to put money into those neighborhoods, and now they want treatment for those. They didn't criminalize those people. They didn't go kicking down their doors, dragging them off to jail, tearing down those families because they were shooting at heroin or the opioids up their arms. So there's a whole lot of other things that I like to talk about in reference to why we're here today. So make sure you guys put that out in your story.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know I've been looking at other cities that have, and I've talked to folks. I remember we went to Chicago. They had a lot of people from different places, and they was actually talking about ceasefires that they have actually negotiated and was able to work out. And I was looking at some of those ceasefires, and some of them are pretty simple, right? Of some agreements, right? Is like no shootings around churches, right? Or even should be cemeteries too, right? Because we haven't people get shot there. We haven't headstones being pulled up. Also, what they try to do is like schools, places like that, recreation centers, all these different safe zones where it should be an agreement at the very least that won't be no shootings in those areas, right? Even though we don't want shootings at all, but we have to come to terms and start having some discussions when we're talking about ceasefire, some of the things that we should do, right? And I know here in San Diego, we're unique from a whole lot of other different types of cities and so on. So with that thought in mind, what would you say that a ceasefire would look like to you? And how can we present that to our younger brothers that are out there and sisters that's out there engaged in the violence?
And with that question that you asked, I just want to say, before I pass the mic around, that I like what you said about at least keeping school areas and parks, places where kids are playing, and public stores, places where other people are that aren't involved in the gang violence. At least keep those places safe. At the very best, it would be nice to see San Diego go, 30 to 60 days without any incidents of violence. That would be beautiful.
we just, like I said, we just gotta give them something to do. If they don't have nothing to do, they're gonna do something, it's gonna be constructive. So if we give them something to do, like when we came up, it was stuff to do all over the city. Now it's none of it. We don't have nothing. So when I go party somewhere, I'm going out of town. You know what I mean? So when it is something going on down here, everybody flocks to it because it's only like one event. So what do you think is going to happen? Because every hood's going to go there. So there's always going to be friction. So if they have stuff spread out around the city for minorities to go to, it'll work out. They have something to do. If they have nothing to do, they're going to do something destructive.
Yeah, I agree. I think when it comes to a lot of the, not just gang violence in general, a lot of it comes back to like poverty. You know what I'm saying? When you have poverty, you're going to have crime. So, like you said, you give them something to do, and if they have money or resources and stuff,
Yes.
when people out here doing good, they're less likely to be on some BS. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Because you got stuff to do. You know what I mean? You about to go on a trip next week. I can't, you know what I mean? I'm going to work tripping on somebody for some red shoes. So I think, like, you know, we have to leave even the financial playing field a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? But that comes through with all black people. Because now you can't just say gang members. You know what I'm saying? That has to come through with all gang members. If you do that, I think a lot of violence will be ended.
Bishop, as you were talking, one thing that stuck out in my mind was that, you know, we all had to crawl before we walk.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And, you know, by, you know, signifying what areas is not to be touched when it comes to violence, you know what I mean? That's the crawl. You know what I mean? So if we can implement that and watch it grow, you know what I mean? That crawl will become a walk. You know what I mean? And then that walk will become a run. And that run will be to things bigger and better. You know, so I like that. I like what you put out there, and it makes a whole lot of sense. And I think that with that right there, with the schools, the parks, and stuff like that there, I think it probably eventually spread to other areas as well. You know, so we got to crawl before we walk.
And I think, you know, I think with Michael that was saying, you know, if you peace for some months, then something happens, right? And someone, and a lot of times you end up burning out of school or cemetery or somewhere. These areas, right, where if we had peace zones, that could even keep peace even longer because nothing is being, folks are not being provoked into doing something.
Right.
Because and now we're thinking peace, right? Think there's a way to do it, so we expand it. But I agree, we gotta crawl before we walk. And that's why we do the season of peace also, right? Because we say, hey, let's just take a break during this time, right? And we can work on getting, start walking and running, but let's crawl.
Let me see.
Well, we have to at least get started to get it going.
What about when it's no wars, the police drive around and throw blue rags and I don't want to police but it did happen.
Yeah, so basically what we want to do now, because we've been going for a while, we want to have each one of these gentlemen up here, and I'll do it myself, call for peace. We want to have them call for peace. So San Diego, California, throughout the county, not just the city, I ask that you guys cease the violence. Just stop for a while. Let's get prosperity through peace. Let's see some of the things that we can do together. And let's just see what unity looks like. Recently, one of the biggest hits out was something that YG and Snoop Dogg did together. And it was really big because they both came together. But what everybody liked about it is that they were from opposing gangs. And so in San Diego, think about how big that was, and think about how big a lot of stuff can be if we stop the violence and work together to get the things that we want and that we need. That's my call for peace.
peace. That's all I can say. Let's come together, y'all. Yeah, it's time to wake up, man. Like, we losing too many people. We losing, you know, the one person that died, the one person going to jail. People going to jail. We knocking down, they got so much technology, you know what I'm saying? But I think we need to start building relationships with people outside of your gang. I think that'd be huge. If I go, me and my family go hang with Big June and his family every week, then my kid, you know what I mean? I mean, that's like to do something, that's my boy. You know, I love that dude, you know what I'm saying? So we gotta start building relationships, that's huge too. And not just in passing, like really getting to know people with their families from other communities. Because that's a lot of our hoods, the only thing that's separated is a bridge or a street, a store. You know what I'm saying? Nothing really, you know what I'm saying? So let's just start building relationships and getting to know each other, man.
To all the gang members, I'm a firm believer in better things can happen if we put our mindset in a better light. And I also believe that someday, you know, we're going to be the ones that's going to be smiling, that's going to be happy that what went on in the past is no longer in existence. And what I'm talking about the violence. You know, there's a lot of joy that I feel inside when I go to places like the Juneteenth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And seeing individuals from various gangs there enjoying themselves. You know what I mean? Everybody's having a good time. You know, and when I got out of prison, I went to my first Juneteenth. You know, and while I was in prison, I used to read about it in the paper, and I used to tell myself that, hey, I got to go to one of those. And when I finally did go, you know, I was so happy to see that, you know, so many people from various parts of San Diego, I'm talking about gangs, was there enjoying themselves. And my question to myself was, why should just one day, you know, be open for peace? You know what I mean? And especially big gatherings, you know. And I believe that once they see that guy over there from that gang over there, he's not so bad. You know what I mean? He's a cool dude. You know, hopefully with that right there, it'll spread. You know what I mean? Where that, irregardless of where the individual was from, he's still a good person. You know what I mean? He's still a good person. He just make a lot of dumb decisions. You know what I mean? And that's, when I say we, I'm speaking in my mindset of when I was in a gang, because there wasn't nothing smart about it. Nothing smart. So, gang members, come on, man, join us. You know, and I trust and believe. If you join us, hey, it's gonna be all good. Believe that. Because ain't nothing good about what's going on right now in them streets. You know, you want to find something better, you got to step up out of that box. You know what I mean? Don't be pigeonholed anymore. You know, get up out that box and explore. Because believe me, your mind is bigger than what you think it is.
Yeah. You know, San Diego is very small. And you know what I'm saying? My cousins and their cousins, you know what I mean? Like, how could we, I got Crip cousins, I got Lincoln Park cousins, I got, you know, so, and I'm not going to let nobody hurt none of my cousins. Just as well as these guys ain't going to let nobody hurt their cousins. So what are we really doing, you know what I mean? But holding us back from prosperity, you know what I mean? We need to take this time now to, you know, put our families in position to making money, you know, helping your little cousins, you know, fill him out an application if he really doesn't know what to do. get him started, let him make a little bit of money, and he'll like they said, money is down there the root of all evil. Even though in the job we're getting crumbs off the table, which the 1% is getting everything, and they're pushing the little crumbs off, and we're able to eat. But you know, when we all work together and put our resources together, and you know, from different neighborhoods, with all our resources together, we don't need nobody but us.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And teach each other business. You know, it's just a lot of nonprofits out here that can teach people how to fill out LLCs and nonprofits and things of that sort. But you know, we all can't be the only ones to do it. We gotta extend the help. You know what I mean? But we're asking for everybody to cease fire. You know, increase the peace out here. You know what I mean? This world will be a lot better than what it is. Hey.
How you doing? I'm Brother Sakura, and National City knows me as Marvin Johnson.
All right.
So for me, I have a very entangled relationship with the gente as well as the black brothers. I don't like to use connotations like that, but we're going to talk in a language to the people so they can understand. And as far as ceasefire, I support it, but I really put the responsibility on community because I don't like the fact that people say gangs without understanding and acknowledging that they're the community. They're part of the community. Where they live is a community, and we need to embrace that. And for me, what helped me here in National City, what helped me navigate out of gang banging was economic resources. You know, going to the SWAT meet because my perros, Theo, got work for me over there. It was embarrassing, but it was humbling, but shoot, I walked away with $50. And I put that $50 in my pocket. I was like, wow, that was cool. You know, so we got to be careful on how we label one another. And it's so quick and so easy to say, oh, well, it's that problem, it's that problem. But you got to put yourself in the position of a person that has to be a pallbearer for their loved one. That mind state is fragile. The emotions are everywhere. And if they don't have coping skills, if they don't have home training, and that's nothing against the parents, because you got a parent that works 12 hours a day, and then 3 hours at another place, and then come home, and then you want to put the responsibility on that single father or that single mother. Oh, how come you're not teaching your child right? It's like, wow, you don't know my reality. You know what I mean? So like for me, I put the ceasefire on our council people and our elected officials. They need to put more money into these after school projects. Because I remember when I was little, in that project. You know what I mean? Why did that stop? You know, so that's how I look at the ceasefire, because the ceasefire comes from, one, lack of economics, two, anger, coping skills, behavioral modification. People need this. Some people got mental health issues. You know, they labeled me that way until they figured it out that, oh, no psychosis. So if I don't use the drug, I won't have the psychosis, supposedly. But because my drug of choice was PCP, it stores in your fatty tissue. So what's your brain made out of? Fatty tissue. So if I got too angry, or if I got too upset, or it got too hot, it would get released, and I have an episode. I don't want to take too much time, but I think we need to really come together and really hold the fire to our council people and let them let go of the purse string and get these programs going. Like this church here. This church has changed names twice to my knowledge. And look at all this space. Can you imagine if they had the after school program? Look at our little leagues. Our little leagues are shrinking. I remember I was a Kimball Park All-Star. We didn't have to worry about, are we going to get uniforms? We got uniforms every year. Every year, our all-star team was battling for the best in San Diego. Now you got East Lake, it's took care of. highway gets took care of. Southeast barely even has the money to even get on the field. I don't even want to speak about it in Canto, because my brother, my street brother, he coaches over there, and they didn't get no funding. So they don't even have it in Canto Little League. Paradise Hills. I remember Paradise Hills was the nicest one in our area. Now it's going down. So these funds need to come from the purse strings who hold the purse strings. And now you got a wave of children that, oh man, I want you to be in a gang. You're tripping. I just went to Vallejo, California in an all-star game. I'm not messing with you, dude. So for me, let's keep in mind that they're community members. Let's keep in mind that they need economical resources. They need to get computer literate. They need love. And then you also got this issue with, let's say for instance, my niece got shot. Victims of crimes, right? Guess what happened? They got to wait 9 months before they get their money. But at the same time, now it's 9 months past. I don't went through all these emotional strikes, economical strikes, bill collector, I went to collections. It shouldn't be that way. So thank you for giving me the 2 minutes or 3.
Okay, we appreciate your contribution, brother, and we appreciate the contribution of everybody up here. I want to say that at some point in our conversation, people brought up doing something with the women. They brought up Cuban Mimi. Most people who are from Southeast San Diego and have been out here a while know Monica Kelly. So she saw what we did the last time we did this and came together, and she actually gave me an early morning call and said, Bobby, we need to get the women involved in this because they're also have been complicit in this. And so we will be having a summit with the women where we discuss these same issues and we call out for peace. And as Monica and I were talking, we do expect Cuban Mimi to be a part of that. And there will be other people who will be a part of that because Cuban Mimi's Fat Camp is tremendous. Monica Kelly is a person who does a lot of community service. And so we are looking very forward to the Women's Gang Summit that we'll be having. We'll be speaking to them about issues with women who are in gangs. Right now, I'd like to thank my panel. I'd like to thank you, San Diego, for listening in on this. I'd like you guys to take to mind what peace through prosperity would look like. And from all of us up here, we'd like to see peace in Southeast.
Right. 1, 2, 3. Let's just all say peace in Southeast. You guys ready?
1, 2, 3. Peace in Southeast. And throughout the rest of San Diego. Thank you.
And the out counties.